All right, let's start with something that's been quietly brewing in Kansas City. The running back situation. Yeah, I know, when you talk Chiefs football, the first thing that comes to mind is Patrick Mahomes launching rockets to Travis Kelce, or maybe Rashee Rice breaking ankles on a short route. But lately it's not the passing game turning heads. It's the backfield. See, Kansas City has been poking around the running back market again. You probably remember those reports around the trade deadline when Brett Veach and the Chiefs were linked to Breece Hall. That wasn't some wild rumor. It was real. The front office wanted more firepower in the ground game, and that tells us one thing. They're not 100% satisfied with what they have right now. And that's where Rico Dowdle's name suddenly enters the conversation. The former Cowboys running back has started catching attention, and for good reason. Heavy.com recently highlighted how Dowdle could be a realistic and valuable target for Kansas City, especially if they're still exploring ways to strengthen that RB room. Now, before we dive into whether Dowdle would actually fit, let's talk about why the Chiefs are even looking in the first place. Isaiah Pacheco is an absolute warrior, a seventh-round pick who runs angrier than anyone in the league. But he's been banged up more often than fans would like to admit. Shoulder issues, leg tweaks, even missed practice time. And while the team brought back Kareem Hunt for depth and leadership, it's fair to say he's not the same player he was back in 2017 when he led the league in rushing as a rookie under Andy Reid. So you've got one guy with health questions and another who's past his prime. That leaves Veach with two options: stick with what they have and hope for the best, or take another calculated swing. That's exactly what this front office has done for years. They look for value, not just star power. And Rico Dowdle might fit that description perfectly. But I'll throw this one to you. Do you trust the current RB combo of Pacheco and Hunt to carry this offense through another long playoff run? Yes or no? Drop your answer in the comments because I really want to see how divided fans are on this one. And hey, before we move on, make sure you hit that subscribe button and help us reach 6,000 subscribers. It's a small click for you, but a huge boost for the channel, so we can keep breaking down every move Brett Veach and Andy Reid make. Up next, we're breaking down who Rico Dowdle really is, what makes him interesting, what kind of back he's become, and why the Chiefs could see him as the next hidden gem. So let's get into who Rico Dowdle really is. Because if you're a Chiefs fan who mostly follows the AFC West, you might have only seen him flash here and there in Dallas. But this guy's story? It's quietly impressive. Dowdle came out of South Carolina back in 2020 as an undrafted free agent, and honestly, he's the kind of player Andy Reid usually falls in love with. Tough, patient, physical, and a grinder who's had to fight for every single rep he's ever earned. For years, he sat behind Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard, barely getting touches. But when his opportunity finally came last season, he made the most of it. In 2023, Dowdle logged 361 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on just 89 carries. That's over 4 yards a pop. And added 144 receiving yards with another score through the air. Nothing eye-popping, but it's how he got those yards that stands out. The guy runs with balance, he finishes his runs with power, and he's sneaky quick in open space. In Dallas, they used him in short yardage and red zone situations, something Kansas City could definitely use right now. Because, let's be honest, as good as Isaiah Pacheco is, he's not exactly the kind of back you want taking 25 carries every Sunday. He's a hammer, not a workhorse. And Kareem Hunt, while still crafty and physical, isn't the long-term answer. Dowdle's a middle ground option. He's got fresh legs, he's still only 26, and he's shown that he can handle multiple roles: pass blocking, catching out of the backfield, and pounding between the tackles. And you know Andy Reid, he loves versatility. He wants guys who can stay on the field no matter the down or distance. Remember how he used Jerick McKinnon the past couple of years? That kind of flexibility is gold in Reid's system, especially when Mahomes wants to run tempo and force defenses to stay in nickel. Dowdle could step into that same type of role. The steady, dependable back who does all the little things right. But here's the real question. Would Rico Dowdle actually start in Kansas City if he got the shot? Or would he just be another rotational piece behind Pacheco? What do you think? Drop your answer down below. Could you see Dowdle becoming the next under-the-radar weapon in this offense? And hey, if you're enjoying this breakdown, take a second to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're pushing hard to reach 6,000 subscribers, and every single one helps us bring more in-depth Chiefs talk your way. Coming up next, we're looking at what other options Kansas City has been weighing, including the Breece Hall trade rumors and how those fit into the bigger picture for the RB room. Alright, now that we've broken down Rico Dowdle's potential fit, let's talk about the bigger picture. Because Dowdle's name only came up after the Chiefs already made a move, or at least tried to. Remember those reports before the trade deadline? Kansas City actually picked up the phone about New York Jets running back Breece Hall. Yeah, that Breece Hall, one of the most explosive young runners in the league. It didn't happen, obviously, but the fact that Brett Veach was even interested tells you a lot. He's not just window shopping. The front office knows the running game hasn't been dominant, and they're clearly open to upgrading if the right name becomes available. Hall would have been expensive, not just in salary but also in draft capital, which is probably why the talks fizzled out. Still, that kind of move shows how aggressive this organization is willing to be when they smell opportunity. Now, if the Chiefs don't go after a name like Breece Hall or Rico Dowdle, what are the internal options? Well, first up, you've got Isaiah Pacheco, the heartbeat of the backfield. Nobody questions his effort or energy. But durability remains a concern. He's tough as nails, but taking 200-plus touches every year adds up fast, especially when you run the way he does, like every play is his last. Behind him, there's Kareem Hunt, who brings experience and leadership, but you can see the wear on him. He's not the same bursty back from his rookie days in Kansas City. Then there are the depth guys, Brashard Smith, Elijah Mitchell, players who flash during OTAs or preseason but haven't proven they can hold up across a 17-game grind. So this brings up the big question Veach and Reed have to answer. Do you roll with what you've got, or do you make a mid-season push for another back if injuries hit again? Because at this point, the Chiefs' running game feels one tweak away from being in trouble. And here's where I want your take. Would you trade a mid-round draft pick for a proven running back if it helped the Chiefs repeat as champs? Yes or no? Drop your answer in the comments and tell me who you'd target if you were in Brett Veach's shoes. Also, don't forget, if you're liking the breakdowns, hit that subscribe button and help us reach 6,000 subscribers. That way, you'll never miss when we break down the next big Chiefs rumor or move. Next up, we're diving into the X factors, how a guy like Dowdle or any new addition would actually fit Andy Reid's offense, and why the scheme might be the secret weapon behind KC's backfield success. Now here's where things get really interesting. How a guy like Rico Dowdle or any back Kansas City brings in would actually fit into Andy Reid's offense. Because let's be real, this isn't your typical run-first system. The Chiefs don't need a Derrick Henry-type bruiser. What they need is a back who can do a bit of everything. Someone who can protect Mahomes, catch passes, and pick up those tough yards when the defense is sitting back in coverage. That's exactly where Dowdle could make an impact. He's not going to lead the league in rushing, but he's the kind of player who keeps the chains moving. In Dallas, he showed strong instincts in zone schemes, waiting for his blocks to develop before hitting the hole. That patience fits perfectly with Kansas City's offensive line, which thrives on stretch plays and misdirection. And don't forget about the screen game. Andy Reid has always loved using screens as an extension of the run. Quick passes to neutralize pressure and give Mahomes easy completions. Jerick McKinnon made a living off that in 2022 and 2023, scoring 8 receiving touchdowns across those 2 seasons. Dowdle has similar hands and body control, which could make him that next quiet weapon defenses forget about until it's too late. There's also pass protection, one of the biggest reasons some talented backs never see the field in Reid's system. If you can't protect the quarterback, you're not getting snaps. Dowdle's tape shows he can handle blitz pickups, anchor against linebackers, and stay square. That's a huge plus. That kind of reliability keeps Mahomes comfortable, especially late in games when teams start sending pressure. So if we're talking about fit, Dowdle checks nearly every box. He won't demand 20 carries a game, he can contribute on third downs, and he can be that security valve Mahomes trusts when things break down. But let me throw one at you. What do you think matters most in a Chiefs running back? Power, speed, or reliable hands? Pick one and tell me in the comments. I want to see where Chiefs Kingdom stands on this. 1. And of course, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and help us push toward our goal of 6,000 subscribers. Every sub helps keep the Chiefs community strong and brings you more insider-style breakdowns like this. Up next, we'll wrap it all up. Final thoughts, realistic expectations, and what the Chiefs might actually do moving forward with this RB situation. So after everything we've broken down, the rumors, the numbers, the fits and the needs, where does this all leave? Kansas City? Right now the Chiefs' backfield is balanced but fragile. Isaiah Pacheco brings the energy, the fire, and the physicality that sets the tone for this offense. He's the heartbeat of that group. But even with all that passion, there's no denying the wear and tear is adding up. Then you have Kareem Hunt, a solid veteran presence who knows the system, and still flashes that vision and patience we all remember. But he's not built to carry a full season load anymore. That's why Brett Veach is keeping his eyes open. Rico Dowdle fits the mold of a classic Chiefs pickup. Affordable, overlooked, and versatile. He's the type of player Andy Reid could slide into a rotation and instantly get production from. The move wouldn't be about making headlines, it'd be about smart roster building. And that's exactly how this team has stayed on top for so long. If Veach doesn't make a move now, don't be surprised if the Chiefs revisit the position around mid-season. Maybe even circle back on a name like Breece Hall if the Jets' season spirals again. This front office is never afraid to make an in-season splash when they think it can push them closer to another Lombardi trophy. But let's not overlook one thing. The Chiefs don't need a superstar running back, they just need a dependable one. Mahomes and Reid can make almost any offense work as long as the running game stays efficient. So whether it's Pacheco, Hunt, or maybe even a guy like Dowdle stepping in, the real goal is consistency, not flash. If I had to call it right now, I'd say the Chiefs stand pat for the moment, but they'll keep that phone line open, because that's what elite teams do. They're always one step ahead, planning for the next move before anyone else sees it coming. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think the Chiefs should make a move for a back like Rico Dowdle, or just trust what they already have? Drop your take below, and I'll feature some of the best comments in an upcoming episode. And if you made it this far, you're a real one. Hit that subscribe button right now so we can hit our goal of 6,000 subscribers and keep growing the Total Chiefs News family. Give this video a like, too. It really helps spread Chiefs Nation across YouTube. Because one thing's for sure, whatever Brett Veach decides, this team's always going to find a way to stay dangerous.